Okay, I am going to work through number 2 from the textbook scan at your request, so that hopefully you have a better chance of getting started on this over the weekend. Number 2, yikes. Number 2 gives you y squared equals 4x. And actually, as I'm writing this up, I might recommend that you first watch the video about doing these on your calculator and then come back to this one if you haven't already, because I'm going to refer to that in this video. Okay, so this one asks you to do both ways in terms of x and in terms of y. So if you were to graph this, you have to first finish solving for y. So y is equal to plus or minus the square root of 4x. And when you plug that into your calculator, you have to plug it in as the two different functions that it is. So y sub 1, just write square root of 4x. Y sub 2, you'd have to write negative square root of 4x. But it is just a sideways parabola. Actually, maybe I want this to be a little bit bigger. It is a sideways parabola looking something like this. Okay, and then 2x minus 4 intercept down here, and then slope of 2 looks something like this. So the area we are finding is this region in here. Okay, so in order to find this area, we need to find these two intersections right there and there. Okay, so that's probably easiest to just do in your calculator. When you have all three of these graphed, you can calculate their intersection on your calculator by hitting second calculate. You've done this many times. And number 5 is calculating the intersect. Now, it's going to ask about which curve it's on, because there are technically 3 in this screen. So if I'm finding this one down here, you switch from curve to curve using the up and down arrows. So make sure you're on that bottom curve. Once you are, you hit enter. Then second curve should be the line. Once you are, you hit enter. Then it says guess. Then it will calculate where those two curves intersect, and that is at 1, -2. Okay, then do this one. So second, calculate, intersect again, and go through the top curve and the line again. And those intersect at, sorry. I tried to do the two square roots, and those don't intersect. So, okay, 4, 4. So, doing part A in terms of x, the area starts at 0. Okay, but here's the problem. When you start thinking about top curve minus bottom curve, okay, this is from 0 to x equals 4, where this area stretches. It stretches from 0 to 4. This square root of 4x is the top curve the whole time. The problem is the bottom curve changes. It goes from being negative square roots of 4x to being the line, 2x minus 4. So we're going to have to split this up as we do this in terms of x. So from 0 to 1, it is the square root of 4x minus negative square roots of 4x. Then you would add to that from 1 to 4, it is the square root of 4x minus the line. And since that's a binomial, I need to put it in parentheses. So minus 2x, the quantity of 2x minus 4. Okay, so then this is what I was referring to. I want you to plug these into your calculator. So you plug this one into your calculator, and then you add to it this one. You should be getting 9. Okay, then part B asks you to do this in terms of y, and you should get the same answer. And the good news about doing this in terms of y, although it's not as familiar to you, this is gonna be easier, because when you do this in terms of y, you're not thinking top minus bottom, you're thinking right minus left. And right is always the line. The right side of this area is always the line. And the left side of the area, although in terms of x, it is plus or minus the square root of 4x, in terms of y, it's just referred to with one expression. So to do this in terms of y, we're going to go from, so our limits of integration have to be y values. We're going to go from y equals -2 to y equals 4. Okay, right side is the line, but it needs to be written in terms of y. So up here, I'm going to add 4, so y plus 4 equals 2x. Divide by 2. So I'm going to write y over 2 plus 2 minus, okay, then over here, this is almost solved for x. I would just need to divide by 4. So minus y squared over 4. And in terms of y, that's all it is. It's not plus or minus. It's just one thing. It's y squared over 4. It's not a function, but dy. Okay, so then when you go to plug this into your calculator, I talked about this in the video, there's no y button on your calculator. So when you're plugging this in to calculate, you just put x's wherever there's a y, but it's different than up here. You're still doing this in terms of y, but your calculator doesn't really care. It doesn't notice the difference. So although it says y here, you plug it in as x on your calculator, and you should still get the same answer, 9.